Good evening, everyone. I am Joy Badler, and I am here tonight to talk to you about what is, I'm sure, an extremely tender, slightly terrifying season of change for you and your family. If you're feeling anxious tonight, rest assured you have not failed as a parent. It is because you are a parent, and we have been rescuing our kids to some extent, in some version, wrapping them in bubble wrap from the time they were tiny little tots taking their first wobbly steps. And now university is just around the corner, and suddenly the question becomes, how will my kid survive without me? More accurately, how will my kid survive without my reminders, my alarm clock, my snack drawer, my emergency ability to find things by psychic powers? How are they going to manage? And you're not alone in this. You have given your kids their roots, you've given them wings, and now you need to let them go without losing your mind. I've done this 3 times. I know how difficult it is, but rest assured, as somebody who has spent decades in education and supporting students, and someone who is wired with ADHD, let's just say I know this stage brings up big feelings, which is why we're here tonight to talk about those big feelings. Because very often, when we are hit with these big feelings, we respond. Our kids, we're worried about them. They're not as successful as we hope they could be. So we respond with more reminders, more checking in, more supporting. Why? Because this is how we as parents show our love. And the hard truth is actually, when you stop, this frees you up a lot. And often the most loving thing you can do for your child is stop being the glue gun. Stop hovering. This is one of my favorite quotes. I don't actually remember where it comes from, but it states there are 2 things children should get from their parents: roots and wings. Roots are what you have given them. You've loved them. You've taught them values. You've shown them a home, a place where they can leave now and they're welcome to return. These are their roots. Their wings are the skills of confidence, the skills of being able to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet. Even if they do wobble, that's okay. Right now, many of you are listening to me and thinking, oh my gosh, I've given them roots. That I know, but the wings are still in the box and don't even come with instructions. So, not to worry, we've got you. And these are tried and tested ways that I have supported many children, including 3 of my own, to going to university or leaving home. a lot of our teens have learned how to function within our radius. They are doing really, really well, but the reason that they are doing so well is that their parents are nearby managing the hidden parts. And I am a mother. I have also been the external brain and the external calendar and the alarm clock and the reminder app and the emotional regulator and accountability partner all rolled into one. But this does not serve our children well. I work with university students whose parents need to call them to wake them up to get to class on time. They call their professors when their kids forget to do an assignment and the consequences are zero. They hover, 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 and they're doing this absolutely out of love. However, their kids are less prepared, not more prepared. And it's understandable because this whole love trap fosters dependency. Our intentions are good, but we are not allowing our kids to be independent. So the goal is not to throw them in and sink or swim, because unfortunately, a lot of children who are just thrown into university aren't successful. They do drown, and we don't want that. We want to teach them how to swim while they're still in our home so that we can offer them the towel afterwards. Here is the big shift. Parents need to teach and not do. You know, sometimes it's just so much easier to just do. It's easier to call the teachers that your kid doesn't have a tantrum. It's easier to set everything up for them. It's easier to go with them to their interviews just so that you can ensure that they are doing everything as they should. But you are robbing them of their independence. For some of you, you may have your teenagers who have started driving. For others, this is a next and extremely terrifying step. But when your kidlet gets their license, you don't simply hand them the keys of your car and say, sayonara, good luck. The outcome will certainly not be what you hoped for. You teach them, or you may get a driving school to teach them if you don't have nerves of steel, but you teach them how to fill the car up with gas. You teach them how to recognize when the gas is becoming empty. You take them on to different routes. You teach them how to drive on the highway. Everything happens through practice. Practice, 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 repetition. And you help them. You let them mess up in a safe way, in a stabilized, regulated environment. And you need to realize the F word is part of the process. our kids are terrified to fail. Failure is an opportunity to review what you've done and do it better another time. Now, obviously, we do not want to put our children into situations where the failure is going to be catastrophic. You want to show them that failure teaches them and they can fail forward. You don't want to completely just throw them right in. So, how do you do this? And this is where we are going to start getting practical, and I'm going to be giving you tips that I have used for the last 15, 20 years. The first thing is stop doing the invisible work. What is the invisible work? Three things. Being their alarm system, tracking their deadlines, and speaking to their teachers, tutors, coaches. So let's look at the first one, the alarm clock. Teenagers are extremely difficult to wake up, but they can be trained to do it on their own. So, what I would like you to try to do over the next little while is choose three of these terms that situations that I call invisible work. And currently, these jobs are living in your brain. I want you to slowly transfer these to your teen's brain. So let's start with the alarm clock. They own an alarm clock, which works, and you can choose to retire from alarm clock duty. Recent experience that I had with a teenager is they sleep right through the alarm clock. So what I did was, in loving, non-annoying ways, 10 minutes before the alarm clock, I let them know that they had the 10 minutes and then the alarm clock was going to ring. And after practicing it a bit, we managed. We woke up on our own with an alarm clock. The next one, which is tracking, is it's pretty difficult to give this one up, but your kid owns their own calendar and you can stop being the reminder megaphone. Now, a few weeks ago, we did a webinar where I gave practical solutions that you can put into place for training your kid on how to set up their calendar and how you can support them. And that may be worthwhile you going onto YouTube and finding that video to look at some of those skills, because it's important to have these kinds of strategies in place so that your kid is set up to be as successful as possible. So with tracking the deadlines, they've got their calendar. Don't remind them. See what happens. They're at school now, so it's not going to be catastrophic. And they will learn that they need to check their calendar every day before leaving the house. The final is communicating with teachers and coaches. And It's so interesting because in my role at the school, I have a lot of opportunity to talk to young adults and understand what are struggles for them. And I'm working with a number of them who are currently applying for jobs for the summer. And they've reached out to me and asked if I will act as a reference, which I love to do because it gives them the opportunity to practice these soft skills, applying for a job, going for the interview, following through, addressing questions that come up after. And just earlier this week, I was in my office, and one of the students who has secured a job at a camp in the summer was talking to her mother just outside my office, and me with my big ears got involved. And she was saying to her mother, so and so called me from X camp, and I don't want to call back. Can you? And the mother said, sure. And I jumped in and I said, no, not sure. Your child is able to make this call on her own. And making the call and going through, yes, she felt anxious. We had to role play a couple of times what she was going to say. The first time she called back, she put the phone down. But eventually, she made the call on her own and she had crossed a barrier that was frightening for her. Her mother, by agreeing to make the call, was giving her the message that, oh, you aren't capable. Let me call for you. So now is the perfect time when there's something that's going on with with your kid in one of their subjects. Let them write an email or an EDSB message to their teacher. Let them do it on their own. You don't need to just be typing it to help them. They can type. Let them write their own emails to their teachers and say to them, I love you. I know that you're feeling anxious and that's okay, but I believe that you can handle this. What's the plan? Should we role play? What are the issues? What are you hoping the outcome to be? Go through it with them. Give them the opportunity to practice these things on their own. So just to review, I would suggest that you choose one or two and gradually introduce them. The alarm clock being the calendar, emailing or calling on behalf of your child. And now, building what I like to call the university life skills runway. Now, this is not giving your kids big lectures about responsibility and you going away and you need to pull up your socks and you have to be able to do this. It's not about terrifying them. It's about offering small reps. Independence is built by repetition. So I have 5 different areas that I teach the students I work with. And there may be more that other parents want to suggest at the end when we look at answer questions. But these are my 5 top priorities. Number 1, laundry. You need to teach your kid how to do their own laundry. It is embarrassing that they bring their laundry home while other kids are doing it independently. This is the perfect opportunity for you to get them to start doing this if they aren't already. And I can tell you, all of my kids, everyone told me about those kids who the first time they did laundry came out with pink clothes. Everything that was once white is now pink. Those are the kids who weren't taught how to do their laundry, and there there is a bit of hazing that goes on for those kids that mess up. So you don't want your kid to be the pink kid or the gray kid. So teach them, teach them how to sort the laundry, darks and lights. Teach them what can be washed in the washing machine. And I mean, I'm really like my kids do know how, but I think if you're just going to be a cold water wash, they'll survive. Teach them what laundry detergent to buy, where they would find that laundry detergent, how to use it, what washing cycles to use, what can and can't go in the dryer. And something that I did with all of my kids when we went to university was I took all of them with me to the local store. We, my children, both my children who went away to Guelph. So it was Walmart there. And we went to the store and I showed them where in the store they would be able to purchase these things. So they knew from what laundry detergent to use, how to use laundry detergent, and we did Laundry 101 and everyone graduated with socks. So, yay. The next is booking appointments. Let your kid book their own appointment. You don't need to be collaborating with their teacher that little Susie is coming in to Ms. So-and-so at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Let little Susie make her own appointments. Teach your kids how to make a doctor's appointment if they need to go to the doctor when they're away. Going to the dentist. How do they connect with the university counselors? Maybe they have tutors. Let them know how they can how they can communicate with these people and practice it. Let them make their own appointments. When I work with high school students, I, I don't allow the parents to be involved. The kids need to make their own appointments. I teach them how to set alarms to remind themselves, and that way they follow through. And if they don't show up, then come my wrath. I'm teaching them that there's a consequence. So let them make their own appointments. The next thing that is pretty important is purchasing. Ordering items, returning items. You know, I think that we indulge our kids a lot, and our children primarily don't go without. But I think that it's very, very important when your kid goes to university that they are on a realistic budget, that they know how much money they have to spend, and that they stick to the budget. I deal with some of my kids and they are so cute where they're at university and they make a mistake buying something like normally it's at the university bookstore where they find swag, they buy stuff, suddenly they're out of money. they need to make decisions. They can't fill their car with gas to drive to class. So now they have to use a Presto card to see themselves through. They learn how to budget. They learn how to manage. If you have a kid who is driving, your kid should know how to pump their own gas and they should know how much gas they are using. They honestly, if they are old enough to drive, they don't need somebody filling the car for them. I'm bossing you around, but I'm an old woman, so I can. So let's look at ordering and returning items. I've always given my kids a limitation on what they're allowed to spend. So we learned that you can order things, but if it is not what you had hoped for, you can return it. And this is how you return it. When you go to the mall with your people, you hang on to the receipt because you may need to return it. So you are teaching them these soft skills now. The next one that is really, really important is teaching your kids how to cook. And not how to cook craft dinner, but how to contribute to when they are sharing with other students, that they are able to put together something that is healthy and they're not eating toast, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So teach them how to boil eggs the way they like it. Teach them, I mean, when they're in res, they don't have access to a lot of air fryers, and I can't think what the word is. Like the kitchens are very limited in terms of what they can and can't do. Some some residents do have an area where kids can cook, but in their rooms they aren't supposed to have these things. A lot of kids still do, but I highly recommend that you don't snag these things in. You don't want to put your child into a precarious situation. So you're going to teach them how to make 3 meals a day. And when they do go into second year and they do move into houses with other students, it's so amazing for them. One of my students said to me that she go plays soccer at school, and she loves, like on the nights when she plays soccer, she comes home and one of her other housemates has made dinner. On nights when they're going and doing things, she may cook, right? And you are teaching your kids, hopefully, a healthy way of eating and avoiding them constantly ordering in or grabbing fast food. It's not healthy, it's not sociable, and learning how to cook is a really, really, really basic skill that would take them very, very far. The last one is for our children who take medication. Teaching your children how to refill their prescriptions and also allowing them to understand their medication routines. And this can be very, very tricky because some of us parent children who are significantly reliant on medication because of their mental health. And when they don't take their medication, the wheels spin off. So you need to essentially teach your kid how to take their medication And if perchance you have a situation where you have a child who is vulnerable and you don't feel safe with them having their medication, you need to figure out how you're going to do this now. I do have experience with parents who have reached out to the health center at university, and there's help that way. I would really recommend reaching out to Blair, who's here moderating, if this is something that is potentially going to be difficult for you, and figure out how to do it. Um, I I think that teaching kids medication, you to do their medication when you are pairing it with a daily living activity, very often that is enough. I have always encouraged my people to set an alarm clock, like a daily reminder that at this time, this is medication. There are lots of things, like even to teach them to keep their medication next to their toothbrush. So in the morning, when they wake up and they do their personal hygiene, they remember to take their medication. So those are university life skills. You're going to do them slowly, one a week, once every 2 weeks. There's time. You are going to teach your kids Laundry 101. You are going to teach them how to independently book their own appointments. You're going to give them some kind of a budget and show them how to work within that budget. You're going to teach them how to cook different meals so they're not eating toast and peanut butter. And finally, if they are on medication, you're going to hand that over to them, where they are able at university to prescribe their own medication and take their medication independently without you needing to remind them. I'm going to be talking a little more about how to put some of these skills in down the line, but I want to start off with what is the most important step you need to take. And this is also something that I spoke about in my first ADHD webinar. So if you don't know how to train your kids to do this, check back to that. We spoke about how executive function is our brain's management system. Executive function is the ability to plan something, to start whatever that plan is, to stick with it, even if it is difficult, and eventually to be able to bring that to completion. While you are engaged in all of this, your executive function also helps you remain regulated or not. It helps you to remember. It helps you to adjust. So if your executive function system is shaky, this isn't a reason for more criticism. It means that you need a better structure. And I've placed this picture with the old pen to paper agenda and the app because different people enjoy using different systems. And there are great ways to manage either, but You don't want to land up with a whole bunch of different systems. You want one digital or one hard copy calendar. And if you are going, which I guess digital as well, as somebody with ADHD, I have the propensity to download every possible digital calendar to see which is best. But stick with one, either your hard copy or your digital, and also have one task app or notebook and one weekly check-in. This is imperative that you train your kid to plan for the week every week so that everything is in this digital planner and they can have something that they can look back on that is going to help them be successful and operate in the best way possible. Now, please, we do our best because we love our children, but if you are going to create this system for your kid, and it is a whole Excel spreadsheet with hundreds of colors and tabs and highlighting, that's for you. It's not for your kid. It's not for your teen. Let your teen create something that belongs to them. And we have time now, as we are going through this, for them to even try different systems. Blair and I have some amazing planners that we share with the kids, and maybe one of those is what's going to fit your kiddo. Let's start now. Okay. This is very, very, very important. I'm telling you now, university problems are relentless, they are boring, and they are tenuous. They are things like, I really wanted to do it, but I forgot about that, and then I was with my friend and I missed it, and I slept through my tutorial, and I spoke to my TA, and what can I do now? Or they missed an email because they don't check their mail every day. So now they've fallen behind. Or just like in high school, forget to submit something. You have got all of these same sorts of challenges that they are facing right now at school. And now I am imploring you, please don't swoop in and save them. Now is the time to coach them through a repeatable process. And it's very, very easy. Ask them, what happened? Let them explain to you what happened. What are the consequences for this? Let them think about what this behavior could lead to. What are your options? What can you do to get around this? And sometimes you need to, if it is a time-sensitive situation, you may need to say to them, like, what are you going to do within the next 10 minutes? And possibly they are not going to be successful. And that's okay, because you always end with, what will you do differently next time? You are going to need to go through this when you are about to tear your hair out, because kids need patterning, and kids need to learn how to develop their own inner coach. That is the whole point. You want them to be able to do it without you doing it for them. Okay, now, I would say for me as a parent, your kid's going away. The biggest anxiety driver for me as a parent is silence. I I don't like when my kids don't talk to me, but you need to be realistic, and you need to show them that you believe in them and that you have confidence in them. So you have to set up a realistic communication procedure. You cannot be texting your child 24/7. It's not healthy for you, and it's certainly not healthy for them. And there are other children, other young adults who are going to be living with them, who are really going to find this really, really insane, that they are so reliant on their parents. The best gift you can give them, independence. So it's hard, and you're going to need to practice this now, but what you need to do is work on 2 to 3 check-ins a week. I mean, obviously, if they're living away from home, when they are living away from home and they're not living under your roof, you aren't going to be able to do this in person. But now you will have 2 to 3 check-ins a week where you see what's happening, how they're doing. Then once a week, if they aren't coming home, you can have a Sunday call, which you schedule, and it's at a time that's convenient for your kid and that you're respectful of them. You're not calling them at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning where, you know what, their teens are at university and they're entitled to have a little bit of time to sleep in. What always worked for me and saved the day was the thumbs up. So what thumbs up is? Thumbs up tells me you're alive, you are fed, you mostly functioning. Thumbs up is mom doesn't need to be worried because I haven't heard from you. So with my kids, I was like pretty much had to work very, very hard not to become the campus manager. But I would get them to send me a thumbs up as soon as they woke up, so I knew that they'd woken up. I would get them to send me a thumbs up when they got back to res. They were girls. I needed to know that they were back home. This was before you could check exactly where your kids are, which I guess for you people, that is going to take that edge off. But what the whole point is, you are not trying to control them. You are trying to maintain a connection. So don't allow yourself to be the campus manager. Set up strong plans in advance, and it will end up being well. Okay, now this one is the hardest. This one is going to break your heart, but you are going to get through it, and so are they. Remember that childhood and adolescence is all about growth. And growth requires discomfort. When this child was a tiny baby and they were teething, they were uncomfortable. When they were learning how to walk, they'd fall, they'd hurt themselves. Growth requires discomfort. And when you intervene too fast, you are telling your child they're not capable without you. And this one is hard. My advice, obviously, unless your child is going to hurt themselves or someone else. If it is just, it's a issue, my advice is sit on your hands for 24 hours. Let this be their problem to solve and see how they go. Offer them empathy first. If they would like to talk to you and you want to offer some solutions after, but try to celebrate their effort in working through this rather than ensuring they have the outcome that they got, that they get. Our children don't always get what they want, but they get what they need. And if they are banned from the pub because their behavior wasn't appropriate, so what? It's not catastrophic. Let them deal with their own problems first. And then if you need to intervene, give them 24 hours. And now, the final thing is a loving reality check with hope that they're going to be successful. If you think that if you stop being there for them, everything is going to fall apart, you have that fear. Your fear is real. But sometimes there are going to be late fees. And sometimes they are going to miss deadlines. And sometimes they are going to learn that you can't tell your prof or your TA that I forgot as an excuse. There may be a lot of redos. This is all part of the process. The good news is when they are failing forward like this is all data that you are able to use that shows you where they need to practice more, where they need additional skills. So before they're living in residence or sharing a house with others and they have a mini fridge and a laundry card that they've already lost, teach them how to navigate this. This doesn't need to be perfect. You are not trying to raise the perfect child to go to university. You are trying to send off a functioning young adult. There are going to be blips in the road, but you don't have to panic. You can show them structure, use humor, let them get dirty and messy with the message loud and clear. I love you. I'm here for you, but I'm not going to rob you of this chance to grow. You have given them their roots. and you've helped them to earn their wings. You can do hard things. So there we go.
Thank you so much, Joy. We talk so much about is my child ready? Is the student ready to go to university? But I really appreciate the encouraged reflection around, am I ready for my child to go to university? And there really are, it's more than just one person going, it's something that affects the entire family. And we need to consider that as we prepare to launch our children. And the concrete, specific, really granular strategies were really helpful and informative as well. We have a couple questions. So there was one question about um, how do we support our children socially to make friends in a brand new environment, particularly for a child whose main social connections have been in their current academic environment.
That and now that's a great question, and it's actually a situation that I found myself in with my own kid. So this can be very scary, especially when our children are the more reticent kind of kids. What I would strongly recommend is reaching out to the university and finding out about cultural clubs and activities that they offer at the university. Things that your kid is interested in. And, you know, sometimes they have societies and opportunities that you haven't even thought of. Like with one of my kids, when we reached out, they had a calligraphy club. Who thinks like, oh my gosh. But my kid is really, really arty. My kid is a perfectionist. And this was something that really fit the bill. So going together to those activities where they don't feel threatened allows them to actually create relationships. Also, in residence, you can encourage your kid to everybody decorates their doors. And you can encourage your kid to have a board on their door where if your child's the kind of child, my girls were very happy to do this, they would put down a message of the day, something that was funny. It would encourage people to come past, you know, and it's an interesting situation because with one of my kids, there was the board outside with the pen, and of course, somebody is going to leave a message. And we learned that this isn't going to kill you, just erase it. Fortunately, it wasn't. But there are there are things that you can do where also if you've taught them how to cook and there is a kitchen, which there generally is at least one kitchen per unit where the kids can actually go and cook. If they learn how to cook, they can start becoming part of a group of them. Your kid also will go doing their laundry if you make them do their laundry. These are all opportunities to set them up. And especially when your little one, who tonight actually thinks tide is what happens in the sea, when they arrive at university and they are the experts, these are opportunities for them to collaborate. No, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Those are great suggestions. And I love the idea of not just finding common ground with others, but really using those life skills and learning more about those life skills to sort of to bind the kids together. And, maybe they can teach each other laundry tips and cooking tips and they can share their knowledge.
Yeah.
We have another question. Any recommendations for digital planners that are teen friendly?
There are a number of digital planners, and one, you know what? I'm actually going to go to the old, trusted, at the end of the day, Google Calendar. I'm actually going to do that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think knowing a lot of you, knowing parents, and being a parent myself, we need to at least initially be able to be privy to that schedule while your kid is creating it. And with Google, it is absolutely easy. There are so many different additions that you can put in terms of having your own, like your task app is everything is all on the same app. So I am not going to advertise what I was going to suggest. With my own with the clients who I work with, we only use Google. So there you go.
Google is reliable. It does the job for sure. We're nearly out of time. We have just one more question. Um, this is a parent who's concerned with addiction issues, which can be particularly high in the ADHD population, and what this means for their child being in a post-secondary environment, which tends to have the reputation of lots of drugs and alcohol ready and available for the students.
I hear you. I am a parent. I hear you very loud and very clear. You need to have conversations about your child if these are not practices that they have at this time. And I am delighted working in my role at school to know that a lot of our children do not. And that's fabulous. Actually, it's Blair and I are actually having some people coming in to talk to some of the kids just quite by coinkydinks about this. But you need to have these conversations with your kid. And the hard and ugly one is, God forbid, it happens that your child does find themselves in trouble. They need to know, even though they have done exactly what you told them not to do, that they can call on you. If they are in trouble, if they find themselves drunk and unable to do it, or they go somewhere and they get high, they need to be able to call you. Now, I know particularly at the University of Guelph and at McMaster that they have unbelievable programs in res with res advisors who promote sobriety. And, we need to understand that for our kids, for a lot of them, this is peer pressure. And we need to let them know that if they do fail, they can count on you. They can call you. Now, I would I would recommend having conversations with them. If you know that your child does have addiction issues at this time and you would like to help support them now, there is an amazing child-friendly teenage sobriety app, which is it really, really, really works for ADHD kids in terms of how it rewards when when you've been sober for this long and so on and so forth. I, for these parents who are concerned about this, I would be more than happy for us to have private conversations because that is scary. And of course, if we if we can prevent it, that's what we like to do.
Thank you. Well, we're out of time, so we'll wrap it up for the evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Joy, thank you so much for such an insightful and practical talk. I know parents will have appreciated it, and I appreciate it as well. Good night, everyone.
And just so everybody knows, this is going to be uploaded onto TPS YouTube if you'd like to review. Thank you.